Hi, welcome to my channel. A few days ago, I did a video on the T81 Mlok Rail and I gave it a failing grade. Since then, a viewer pointed out he was able to clean a gas system without disturbing the lower rail. So I went looking for answers. It was not in the instructions in the box, nor was it on the importer website. So I started to play around with it and I was able to remove the gas regulator and the piston without disturbing the lower rails. I was a little surprised. So I checked the video I made 5 years ago of the Picatinny quad rail that uses the same system. And that one, I was not able to remove the gas regulator and the piston without disturbing the lower rail. And I decided, well, did they modify the rails, or was it just the differences in the two rifles? Because the Picatinny was on the variant number 1, the light barrel, and this is the heavy barrel LMG. So I checked my variant number 1 and I found that there is a difference in the gas regulator preventer. It prevents it from coming backwards. Okay, so if this is a regulator on 0 and you want to remove it, you can move it, rotate it to the left or rotate it to the right. And let's say you decide to rotate this to the left, and on the bottom of this there is a stud, or as you can see, it's coming, as you can see, it's rotating up, and that once it passes this preventer, this piece right here, it will be allowed to come backwards. And here it is, and now I can pull it back. See, this nub is in the bottom of, this is where you put your tool to rotate it. Okay, and the difference between this and the LMG is that preventer is higher by 1 millimeter. I measured it, and that is the difference. So in other words, if you try to rotate this too far with the arms on the barrel clamp, it would not allow this to go down too much. And if it doesn't allow this part to go down, it means this nub won't come up. And if it can't come up, it won't pass this preventer. Now compare that to the LMG preventer. It's lower. Okay, you can see that right there. And because it's lower, it means this doesn't have to go too far down to come backwards. And that is the reason why I was able to remove this gas regulator and the piston without disturbing the rails, the lower. So that is the difference. Now I can't tell you whether this is, the differences is because of the two different variant. This is the variant number 1, the light barrel, and this is the heavy barrel LMG. I don't know if that's because of the two different variant and that's why they made slightly different, or it's from rifle to rifle. In other words, if you have a quad rail or a Mlok rail, some of you might work and some of you might not work. So depends. I don't know. All I have is one of each, so I can't really say. So that is the big difference. Okay. So so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you how to install this, and also I'm going to show you how to remove the gas regulator and piston for cleaning. Okay. And then I'll give you my thoughts of what I thought of the rails itself. So I'll be back. I am back. Now let's get rid of some of the preliminaries. What do you get for your $200 MSRP? You obviously get the rail, instructions, and a bag of 3 Allen wrench and a bunch of screws. I was on the website. importer website, and they said it's a hard anodized aluminum, matte black finish, fits the LMG and the M series. Okay. Quality of workmanship looks pretty good. No sharp edges. Okay. It also says it has a cut on the top rail, so you could use the iron sight if you decide not to use the red dot. Okay, which I will check that out later. Okay, let's also get rid of the specs. The specs is on the box. It says length 269 millimeter, width 39 millimeter, height 72 millimeter, weight 393 grams. Okay. Now, before I start, I'd like to thank the viewer that pointed out that he was able to clean the gas system without disturbing the lower rail. So thank you very much for pointing that out. Okay. Okay, let's begin with the installation of the Mlok rail. Now, if you look in this bag, you have 3 different sizes of Allen wrench. Okay. Take out the small one. Use the small Allen wrench and remove the screws on the lower rail. And when you do that, it separates. The top rail comes off. Okay. These are the 4 small screws. By the way, in the bag, there's 8 spares. Okay. Now, the next thing you do is remove these screws. There's 2 on each side that holds on to, and by using a medium Allen wrench. You call it connector. I call it the barrel clamp. It clamps onto the barrel. Okay. And this is what it looks like. Okay. And this is the barrel clamp. On the left side of the barrel clamp, you use the biggest Allen wrench provided and unscrew that. That's the screw. And on the other side is a nut. Okay, it's still in there, but it does fall out. Oh, here it is. I call it a barrel clamp because that's what it is. It's hinged. That's not removable. And this is the front. This is the back. This is the bottom. Okay. Now that is done. The first thing you do is put the barrel clamp on the barrel behind the gas block. Okay. And push it as far as you can, but behind the gas block, like this. Okay. Next, on the right side, put on this nut, like that. And on the left side, put on the screw. Using a big Allen wrench, start turning. Don't turn it too tight. Okay. Loose enough that it could slide back and forth. Okay. So that's the position I should be. In other words, the gas regulator is set it on 0 when you put this on. Okay. And these 2 arms should be facing forward, and this piece right here that you use the tool to regulate it, these arm stops it. Those arms are a gas regulator stop. It stops it from going too far to the right or too far to the left. Okay, as you can see, it stops it right there. That's what the arms are for. And now they want you to put in the lower rail. They want you to slide it straight down. Okay. Make sure that this is forward. And you see these bulge on the left and the right. That goes over the front furl. Okay. So that's where you put it. And you should slide it straight down. And I always have a little hard time around the barrel clamp, so you would have to pull it apart a bit to get it over. There it is. That's like that. Now once you get that in, they want you to now install these 4 screws by using the medium Allen wrench. And again, screw them in loosely. Now, this screw that holds the original wooden handguard, you have to reuse that, and it goes right here. Using a screwdriver, slotted screwdriver, screw that in. Okay. Don't tighten them yet. Now, this is the top rail. Okay. It has 4 screws on the top rail, and it holds 4 brackets that attaches to the lower. Here, I'll show you what it looks like, one of the brackets. This is what the bracket looks like. Okay. Now, 5 years ago when I reviewed the Picatinny quad rail, it did not have brackets. They used a different system attaching the top rail to the lower rail. And there was a channel in the lower rail running along the top. Okay. In the Picatinny quad rail, there was channel running along the top, and the top rail went into the channel and went forward. And you had 4 set screw that prevented the top rail from moving backwards. That system is better than this system. And the reason why I say better is because this one has too many screws. There's 8 screws and 4 brackets. The previous one 5 years ago, the Picatinny quad rail, only had 4 set screws. And when you have more screws and more brackets, more pieces, that just spells to me more things that could go loose. And once I install these, I'll show you how loose this can actually get. Now you just slide this in like this. Just slide it in. Make sure this regulator is at 0, and now screw the screw the 4 small screws on the lower. Okay, all the screws are now installed. Now I want to show you what would happen if these 8 small screws start to get loose from the recoil, and then the brackets, the 4 brackets, start to get loose. What happens? Yeah, they start to move back and forth. Okay, not only does it move back and forth, it also moves up and down. You can see the screws moving around. You see that? All this movement is not good. and more screws, more brackets is not good for any rail. So I don't particularly like that. Now that is before I start to tighten everything. Okay, now what you do is tighten all the screws. That was just a demonstration of what would happen under recoil when everything started to get loose. Okay, after you finish tightening 8 small screws, use the medium-sized Allen wrench and start tightening the 4, 2 over here and 2 on the other side. These medium-sized screws. Okay, after you do the 4 medium-sized screw, grab the big Allen wrench, insert it into this hole, okay, and start tightening that. And then finally, using your slotted screwdriver, tighten this. Okay, now check to see if there's any wobble wiggle, and there's none. It looks pretty firm. I'm going to shoulder it, see if I can see the iron sight through the rails, and it does. I can see the iron sight. Now one more thing, check the gas regulator, and the gas regulator has a little hard time turning. The first time I did it, I had to file the plunger, and there's still still got a small issue turning the gas regulator, but it does turn. Okay. Albeit a little hard. Okay. Off camera installed my lowest red dot, and I'm checking to see if it co-witness, and it does not. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to remove the gas regulator and the piston without disturbing the lower. So first, use the small Allen wrench and remove the 4 small screws on the lower. Do not touch the 4 screws on the upper. Matter of fact, if I were you, I would Loctite it using red Loctite. All right. First, remove the top rail straight up. Okay. Put the magazine, empty magazine in first. Pull back on the carrier. Okay. Then make sure the gas regulator is either to the very left or to the very right, touching the barrel clamp arm. You see that? Once you have done that, you can see on the other side there's a nub, and you can see this has now passed the preventer. So pull back on the gas regulator. It's a little hard. Pull back on the gas regulator, and you can pull it out, or like that. And the piston and the spring will follow. So that's it. You do not have to disturb, in this variant, you do not have to disturb the lower rail. Now, what do I think about this rail? Now that I found out that you could do this without disturbing the lower rail. Well, I gave it a failing grade because of a few issues. It wasn't just one, and I haven't changed my mind. I'm still giving a failing grade. And one of the reasons, well, let's go through them. One of the reasons is that 5 years ago, they went from 4 set screws to now 8 screws, 8 tiny screws, and 4 brackets. The more pieces involved, the more chances of this becoming loose, and you're going to be out of zero easily. So that's one. Secondly, it still does not co-witness, okay? And thirdly, it still weighs, well, it is a little lighter than the Picatinny quad rail. It's about 25 grams lighter, but it's still heavy, considering we already have a heavy barrel. So that doesn't help much by still being 400 grams. It could be lighter. This top rail weighs 180 grams. The 2 wood weighs 120 grams. Okay. Comparing that to an upstart company I reviewed a year ago, and this is their quad rail, and this weighs about 300 grams, if I recall, and also with the extension, it weighs 350 max. Okay, and this was low enough that you could co-witness. So it's light, it's co-witness, and this, even without the screws, this is pretty solid. It doesn't budge, because it's really well made. Okay, I really like this quad rail. Unfortunately, this company, upstart company, no longer manufacture them, and so therefore the prices of these are starting to climb. And so that's the reason why I decided to go back to the importer of the rifle and check out their quad rail. And unfortunately, I don't like, it hasn't improved. Matter of fact, I think it's still, it's actually got worse. The way they attach the top rail to the lower rail is worse now. I don't know why they can't just do a simple attachment like this. This is a $50 Picatinny quad rail I bought from AliExpress, and this is very simple. Look, this is the top rail, and it goes into the bottom rail, and it's very secure, and it's held in by 4 bigger screws that I could even use locking washers on them. I don't know why they just do something simple as this instead of using brackets and 8 screws and all that stuff, you know. So therefore, yes, unfortunately, I still giving this a failing grade. It has not improved from 5 years ago. It's actually worse now than before. So thank you very much for joining me. Please hit the like and subscribe button.